I think there are lots of movement now to bring back technical and career education, and not at the exclusion of academic preparation, but integrated with it, and I could give you 10 examples that are encouraging to me. So I think it's healthy. We're worried about inequality now, but we got to figure out how to fix it. And how to fix it is, it's people like me, people in upper income groups, should pay the lion's share of taxes for the same reason Willie Sutton robbed banks. That's where the money is. And if you have prolonged inequality, you're going to concentrate wealth, and then if you have to get tax money, that's where you have to go get the tax money. But we do have a fairly, on the individual side, we've got quite a progressive tax system now, but we're not producing enough jobs.
You can't be a sentinel person in America and not worry about the debt being out of control and rising interest payments and what's happening in our country. And I think the only way around that, I mean, there are two ways around it. One, we just got to get our fiscal house in order. The other thing is that we have to grow. I mean, and they're both sides of the same coin. And so my focus has been, we've got to figure out a way to grow, and we have the assets. What amazes me in this declinist talk, in this stagnationist talk, I look around the world, I travel around the world. Who else has a Silicon Valley, a San Francisco Bay Area, a Boston, Cambridge, a Boulder, a New York metro area with not just finance, media, and technology, and I can go on. Nowhere. Who else has the concentration of universities? But it's almost as if our fiscal policy and our, if you will, our laziness and our dysfunction in Washington is like a drag. It's become a drag on our growth machine. I think the #1 game changer for American policy is to put cities and urban clustering at the center of it. For too long, our public policy has either ignored cities or encouraged suburban sprawl. If we really want to grow, and if we understand that concentration and clustering is the key motor force of growth, it's not technology, it's not even accumulation of knowledge, it's not just human capital, it's the coming together of technology and knowledge and human capital in a city that drives growth. I'm an optimist. You know, my dad, 7th grade education, Depression factory worker in Newark, World War II infantry soldier who stormed the beaches at Normandy, always told me the same thing. Never count America down. He's like, Richard, you would be amazed at how fast this country can turn around on a dime. He said, I saw this during the Depression. I saw it during the World War II effort. America has this incredible capacity to completely remake itself. So I don't want to count America out. And I think we have this ability to revitalize in our DNA. But I think a little bit more of that DNA could be shared in Washington, and especially with dealing with this incredibly ludicrous, I mean important but ludicrous budget overhang problem we face today.
In a state like ours that has such an income tax system that is so heavily stratified to the top taxpayers, that when here in Washington they raised the taxes in 2012, lots of people accelerated their income, capital gains and others, into that 2012 year to avoid the federal tax increase in 2013. And our economists underestimated what the effect that would be on the 2013 tax year. And it was a big one. In the month of April alone in New Jersey, they overestimated our revenue by $650 million for the month of April. So, you know, we got to deal with that problem. I'll come out next week with a plan on how to deal with it. But the long-term problem here is that in fiscal year 16, I'll give you one example, New Jersey will pay more for retiree health benefits than we'll pay for active employees. It's just not sustainable.
I think you can only answer the question of the impact of long-term debt in the context of what are you borrowing for. If you are making investments in basic science, in medicine, in building infrastructure, where it's done efficiently, but the payback is over a long period of time, matching the debt to the useful life of the asset or the research or knowledge is perfectly appropriate. And in fact, we should do a lot more of that. We have underinvested in infrastructure and in education and the things that give us a long-term future. If what you're doing is using debt to provide, to basically transfer obligations from ourselves to our children, then it is very bad for society. And in the end, there's a price to pay for this.
The United States is an incredible source of innovation and growth. The sector I work in, technology, in that sector, America leads. So when you have this kind of innovation, you have this kind of technological expansion, we can create growth for ourselves and the world. I think the really biggest issue we have is, are we investing in that kind of growth, both in the short run and the long run? For our industry, we only really have one input, and that's talent. We need the best trained computer scientists from all over the world, and we are not churning out the kind of students in math, in science, and computer science we need for the future. The rest of the world is outpacing us in education, and that's something that is going to hurt our future if we don't fix it now. I think when you use the full talents of the population, you get faster growth and you get more productivity. We have to look hard at what we're doing. We have to look hard at workforce participation for women and leadership participation for women. A lot of our economic gains over the past couple decades have come from women entering the workforce. And continuing to grow our economy depends upon women being full participants in every level. If we as a country remain really dedicated to the right policies and the right education that protect innovation, I think the United States continues to lead. Innovation and technological improvement is the basis not just for growth, but for improving our lives. And I think that's what this country shows the world is possible, and what we can continue to show the world is possible.